everyone, Niklsun here, and welcome to a special edition of Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. Now, normally on this show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we go over all of the day's big movie news and then talk about what it means for the production in general. But as with the big, massive Marvel announcement today, this is going to be a special episode dedicated just to that. So, without any further ado, let's get started with today's hot topic. Marvel held a special event today in Los Angeles at the El Capitan Theater in downtown Los Angeles to unveil something very secretive. We knew nothing really about this. They messaged all the journalists out there, all the outlets, all the trades, and said, you know, we're going to have this big event, but we can't tell you basically what's going to be happening. It's just at this time. So please show up. So a lot of the speculation about this was one of the big announcements was going to be that Spider-Man was coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, that wasn't the case, which is completely fine considering what they announced. So without any further ado, let's get into the big announcement. Well, Marvel dropped the proverbial Infinity Gauntlet on all of us. And they have gone ahead and officially announced their full slate for Phase 3. So let's get into it. The first title that they announced, and I'll get back to this one in a second, but the first title they announced was Captain America, Serpent... Oh, I can't even remember the name. Anyway, they came out with it was like Serpent Supreme or something like that. Or Serpent Society, that was it. It was Captain America, Serpent Society. And that threw everybody kind of off base because, first off, Serpent Society, you know, what does that mean? What does that entail? It's different from what we thought it was going to be. Why is Robert Downey Jr. involved? It's going to be called this, yada, yada, yada. Well, then after they announced all the other ones, they came back and said, actually, it's Captain America Civil War. And they had Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans come out on stage, and they went... Captain America reached his hand out, and then Robert Downey Jr. smacked it out of the way. So Chris Evans shoved him back, and then they got into this this fighting pose to show that this is actually going to be Civil War. And then the title card came up, and it was just incredible. So they've officially announced that Captain America 3 will be called Civil War, and that movie will be coming out in May of 2016, May 6, 2016. The next film that they announced, which is a little surprising because a lot of people had assumed they had a July 2016 release date. Unless they're still keeping that one a secret and not revealing what it's going to be, I doubt that's very likely. But it looks as though Doctor Strange has been officially announced for November 4th, 2016. Now, Kevin Feige in a Q&A afterwards did say that Benedict Cumberbatch is not signed. That does, however, mean that he is officially in final talks. He is in negotiations right now for the role. He is their guy. As long as he signs on the dotted line, we have our Doctor Strange. But it is not 100% confirmed. That is why they did not have him walk out on stage. They did, however, have somebody else walk out on stage, and I'll get to that in just a second. But Doctor Strange will officially open up, directed by Scott Derrickson, on November 4th, 2016. The next movie was actually pushed up a couple of months. And the next movie that was unveiled was Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which will be coming out May 5th, 2017. That movie, most likely, they didn't really talk too much about it, but that movie most likely is going to start setting the stage for the next Avengers film, which I'll get to in a few minutes here. But that movie most likely will set up everything that's going to happen in the future Marvel Cinematic Universe dealing with Thanos. So the next movie that they've announced is going to be Thor Ragnarok, which is going to be coming out on Guardians of the Galaxy 2's original release date of July 28th, 2017. Now, for the longest time, this has been the rumored subtitle for Thor 3. We did feel that it was, or we did think at least, that it was going to be dealing with Ragnarok, with the Norse mythology's version of the apocalypse. And so this was the logical next step to take with the Thor franchise, because as far as we know, this is going to be the final Thor solo film for the next foreseeable future. So they really did have to go out with a bang, and a lot of people out there find that the Thor franchise is one of the weaker sides of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I really did enjoy Thor: The Dark World. I thought it had a lot of really good elements to it. My one biggest concern has just been how they've been shoving Natalie Portman's character into everything. I do feel that there is room in that storyline for a love story, and I really do think that Natalie Portman is a very fantastic actress, but I just feel that the character of Jane Foster has been mishandled. They've been shoving her in too much. But outside of that, I really do like the Thor franchise. I'm really excited to see what they're able to do with Thor Ragnarok. And most likely with that film coming out in 2017, we should start to hear writers and directors being attached to that film. As far as I know, there are writers already attached. But we should start to hear about a director selection probably within the next 6 months. They may even at Comic-Con announce the director. But it looks as though Marvel and DC are starting to step away from the big conventions and having their own conventions of a sort, or at least events to announce all of their upcoming slate or their actors or whatever the case is. But they're starting to step away from the Comic-Con conventions, because New York Comic-Con was just a couple of weeks ago, and they very well could have announced it there, but they decided to have their own event, and now we have their full slate. The next movie that's going to be coming out will be, they've officially announced it, Black Panther. We are getting Black Panther. It will be coming out November 3rd, 2017. And while Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. were on stage doing the Captain America Civil War title card, they brought out Chadwick Boseman, who most people would, or at least should remember from the movie 42, which was the movie about Jackie Robinson. He was also in Draft Day, and he just recently played James Brown in Get On Up. So, I mean, that's fantastic casting. I said that, he was one of the two choices I think that everybody had kind of settled on. I did think that John Boyega had a slightly better chance, only because of his relationship with Disney right now, because he's shooting Star Wars. Now, that could mean that his role in Star Wars is going to continue on, which means he would not have been able to fulfill the contract negotiations and obligations of a Marvel film. So that's most likely why. But I do think now, especially having seen him in a couple of other films, and seeing his diversity and his range, I really do think he's going to knock this out of the park. But an even bigger tidbit about this is that we're going to be getting our first official look at Black Panther in Captain America Civil War. He is going to play a major part in Civil War. And we're going to see him in costume. He's not just going to be T'Challa, but he's going to be in costume. And he's going to be a major player in the upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least for Phase 3. I can see him being onward, he's going to be a big character. And what I almost see from this is Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, and Black Panther are looking to be the new main crew, if that's the way that they're going. Because one thing that's going to happen, and Kevin Feige actually confirmed this, that at the end of Avengers 2, they will be the new team. There will be a new roster for the Avengers, if you will. Now, that'll most likely be entailing Captain America's team, which most likely will be brought down. Again, this is speculation. This has not been confirmed. This was not talked about, outside of the fact that the Avengers team will be changed. The roster will be changed after Age of Ultron, but they did not confirm who would be in it. The major speculation is that it will contain Falcon, War Machine, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, possibly Vision, and possibly Black Widow. That could be Captain America's new team. And then over the course of Phase 3, we will see them kind of rekindle themselves and come back together as a major force to go up against Thanos. But after Black Panther, which is coming out on November 3rd, 2017, I still can't believe they've officially announced it. That's just amazing. But the next film, and brace yourselves for this, Avengers Infinity War Part 1. So they are indeed splitting Avengers 3 into two films. Now, whether or not this was always going to be their plan is another story. I do feel that, there may have just been one overarching story with two individual storylines packed in there. So they could have a Part 1 and have that deal with, Thanos coming to Earth, because it is the Infinity War. So it is going to be the culmination of the Infinity War storyline and the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos will eventually get the gauntlet from Odin's vault in Asgard. He will attain all of the Infinity Stones, and he will come to Earth to attack. So that is most likely what is going to be the main storyline of Avengers Part 1. And that is going to be about how the team is disheveled, everybody hates each other, nobody trusts anybody, and then Thanos comes. And everybody kind of has to work out all of their problems and work out to see what exactly is going to happen. It's also going to be the culmination of the Civil War storyline. And then that's going to lead into Avengers Infinity War Part 2, which will be coming out in May 3rd, 2019. So a year later, they will be releasing Infinity War Part 2, which is going to be the culmination of everything. But in between those movies, we are getting officially announced Captain Marvel for July 6th, 2018. So we're getting Carol Danvers. They officially confirmed that Carol Danvers is going to be this version of Captain Marvel in their film, which is going to be coming out in July 6th, 2018. The only thing that they would confirm about that movie outside of the title and the date was that they are going to be selecting a writer and a director for the film well before they decide to get into casting. They have a lot of time to get ahead of this, so I mean they've got more than enough time to at least start the search, get the right person involved. They didn't announce a movie that they have nothing planned for 2 years from now, so we don't really have to worry about that. I mean, they've already got a writer, a script finished. They have a director and a main actor already pretty much locked in for Doctor Strange. And that movie doesn't come out for another 2 years. So we've got more than enough time for them to build up the people and talent that they're going to get involved in these films. But after Captain Marvel, this is one that came out a while ago that we figured was going to be later on down the line. But they've officially confirmed that the Inhumans will be opening up on November 2nd, 2018. So Marvel is now stretching themselves out where they're going to be releasing 3 films per year. And I'm really excited to see what 2 additional release dates and films are going to be coming out in 2019, because you can guarantee there's going to be at least 2 more films in there. But a couple of things to take away from this before I get into the breakdowns of all these movies. First off, we're getting not only a Black Panther movie, but an Inhumans movie well before the Cyborg movie with DC comes out. So the fanboy fight and war, if you will, between Marvel and DC, a lot of people are going to be bringing that topic up, that, hey, you know what? You thought that DC was going to have the first African-American superhero in the new age of Marvel's or of comic book movies. Well, that's incorrect. Marvel's actually going to have 2 of them. Now, The Inhumans is not a solo film. It is an ensemble. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy, but the main character of Black Bolt is an African-American character. So, I mean, you could kind of say that, you know, I mean, he's going to be in that. We still don't even know what the new lineup of the Avengers is going to be. I mean, hell, Falcon and War Machine could be in there, which means they're both partially leading a Marvel film well before DC has that film come out. Again, it's almost a moot point because it doesn't really matter. We've had a lot of other African-American superhero films come out well in the past. And I'm not even going to get into those titles because, I mean, everybody should already know them. If they're going to have that argument, you should already at least know about those films. And you can't say that they don't count because they are still comic book movies. It doesn't matter if they're in this new Marvel Studios age or DC Cinematic Universe age. It doesn't matter. They were still there. They were the first ones. So, I mean, that argument's kind of moot. But then we've got the final one in the coffin is the Infinity War Part 2, which again is going to be opening up on May 3rd, 2019. A couple of other things that were confirmed, and these are the specific parts. They confirmed that Wakanda, which is the nation that T'Challa, the Black Panther, originates from, is actually going to be featured in Age of Ultron. So they will be going there. That most likely means that Andy Serkis is indeed playing Ulysses Klaue, which is Black Panther's Joker, if you will. He is his big arch nemesis. So that's really exciting. We're getting a lot of seeds and a lot of little Easter eggs being put into all these movies to really connect them. I love how this is almost feeling like a cinematic television series, because every episode, if you will, that's coming out, we're getting about 2 to 3 episodes a year, where each episode of this massive TV show in scope, we're getting little hints at the stories that are coming out. We're seeing that underlying story arc that's coming through. And I really do like that, because all the connective tissue, it doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the individual film. You can still watch one movie without having seen all the other ones, because they still work really well as an independent film. Independent's probably the wrong word, but I should say maybe a solo film. So, I mean, I really do like that we're getting all these little Easter eggs. Civil War, Kevin Feige actually admitted that Civil War will not deal with the standard Civil War storyline. They are just picking the main overall consensus of that storyline and taking and choosing whatever they want from it. So apparently it's going to focus more on who do superheroes report to, as opposed to the Superhero Registration Act having to give up your identity. It's when somebody crosses a line or when somebody goes against the grain, who do they answer to? Who's the person who they have to go and say, I'm sorry, or have to go and receive their orders from? With S.H.I.E.L.D. now being defunct, and S.H.I.E.L.D. not even being really the mainstay for the superheroes. I mean, if they wanted to, they could just wipe out S.H.I.E.L.D. if it still existed. But the other thing was, yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch, he did say that if the deal was done, they would have walked him out on stage as well. But the deal's just not finished. I wish they would just Like, I don't know what is causing the negotiations for this character to take so long with all of these actors. Because, I mean, you look at Joaquin Phoenix, and that could have just been a one-off because it's Joaquin Phoenix. But now we're looking at Benedict Cumberbatch, and still, like, it was announced the other day that he was in protracted negotiations. So very far along in the negotiations, almost about ready to be in the room and signing on the contract. So I still don't know what the negotiations are having to do in terms of what they still need to solidify. But hopefully we'll get some confirmation on that soon. I mean, the movie is going to start filming I think they projected May of 2015 is when they want to start filming. They may have been able to push that now because the movie's not coming out in July anymore. It's coming out in November. A lot of people speculated that it was July of 2016, but that is not the case. So, and they did confirm again that Carol Danvers will be Captain Marvel, as most people have speculated. One of the interesting things is in dealing with the Inhumans, Kevin Feige did come out and say that we're going to be getting some Easter eggs a lot sooner than we might think. And I mean, that's a very cryptic sentiment to say, or a very cryptic sentence, but that to me means that it's either going to be in Avengers Age of Ultron or it's going to be in Cap 3. I have a feeling it's going to be in Age of Ultron because we're dealing with the Age of Miracles. They're introducing that aspect to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least explaining it more. So that's probably how the Inhumans are going to play in. They're not going to be mutants. Because the Inhumans are essentially another version of X-Men in a sense that Marvel still owns. So they can really have their X-Men universe if they wanted to, with the exception of not actually calling it X-Men. But they can have an X-Men type universe without having to buy the rights back from Fox. And so that means that's why they have Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and they call them miracles because they can't use the word mutant. That's owned by Fox. Or at least that term in this context is owned by Fox. So... but we're going to be getting some Easter eggs, and I have a feeling they're going to be in Avengers 2. They may even put some in Captain America Civil War, but Avengers 2 seems more likely because they're going to be dealing with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. And the last big update that he did give was, as it stands now, neither Black Widow or Hulk will be getting their own standalone films. Black Widow is an integral part of Avengers Age of Ultron, and she will continue to be an integral part in the upcoming Avengers films, Infinity War Part 1 and 2. Same with Hulk. He said that Hulk will be featured in every Avengers movie, but as it stands right now, there is no plan to do a standalone Hulk movie. And again, it's very difficult to do a Hulk movie where it's not just a man on the run. And to really kind of sculpt a Hulk standalone film around how Mark Ruffalo has been portraying this character and how this character now fits into this world. He's not a man on the run anymore, at least from what we know. We haven't seen Age of Ultron yet, but he's not a man on the run. He fits very well into that society. And I don't see how, with the exception of doing a Planet Hulk or a World War Hulk, I don't see any other storyline off the top of my head that could really work as a standalone film for him. So that's most likely why that they're not doing it, because he just has no space. There's nowhere for him to actually fit in. So with him still popping up in the Avengers movies, that to me is a better use of the character, because that means he's better used as a supporting character. That's one of the reasons why Hulk worked so well in Avengers, because he was used as a supporting character. It's like the comment I always bring up. It's like when Tropic Thunder came out, and this is going off topic a little bit, but you'll see how it connects. When Tropic Thunder came out in 2008, I believe, 2007 or 2008, when that movie came out, Tom Cruise's character, Les Grossman, was the standout. Everybody loved his character. He was the funniest. And part of it was because it went against type. Tom Cruise was wearing, he had a really bad comb over. He was overweight. He was very brash, swearing all the time. Very against type for Tom Cruise. And it was really funny. And a lot of people really took to it. Well, what did they do after that? They never went through with this. And I don't even know if it's still in the planning stages, but they were working on a spin-off film that was going to be centered entirely around Les Grossman. And that would have been a mistake, because he worked so well as a supporting character. He works so well in small doses. When you expand the storyline, that means you have to start looking at their backstory. You have to really delve deeper into the character, which means that you would start to understand him a lot more. And that's not something that a lot of people would want to do, because it humanizes them. That character was so brash and was just so abrasive that to understand him more, or to get more backstory, would have taken away from that character, from what we've come to know. So it would have been a bad decision for them to do it. And as far as I know, they have canceled that project. But the same thing applies with Hulk. Hulk is the type of character who works so well in an ensemble. Because, again, if you guys know a storyline outside of Planet Hulk or World War Hulk, which is not where they're planning on going with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least yet, if you know any other storyline other than that, please put it in the comment section, because I just don't know. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of any other storylines that would work for him in a solo film. So him being in small doses means that he's going to be even more effective. He's going to come across as being a much more intense character, especially adversary for characters like Iron Man and even Ultron. I can't wait to see him go to battle against all the Ultron battle droids, if you want to call them that. But yeah, as it stands right now, I'm not upset with them not giving Black Widow or Hulk a standalone film. I would like to see a Hulk film. I just don't know how it would work, because we've seen with Ang Lee's Hulk movie and then Louis Leterrier's version, The Incredible Hulk in 2008, both of those movies were essentially a man on the run and the law enforcement chasing him. And so I really don't think that that could work again. People are tired of seeing that. And they just need to figure out a way to do him properly, because as it stands right now, they don't have a way. And so that's why they're not going to be including him. But I really do think that they are going to be very important. They said that Hulk's role is much bigger in Age of Ultron. Black Widow is very integral to Age of Ultron. And then moving forward, the one thing that does say, at least to me, is that we know for a fact now that Black Widow's not going to die in any of the upcoming films, unless she dies in Avengers Infinity War. But I mean, as it stands right now, that means that she's going to survive Age of Ultron, which I think a lot of us knew. But she was the most likely one, either her or Hawkeye, to get the axe. But Hulk, on the other hand, is a character that they'll never kill Hulk off. They'll never do that. They can't, because there's nobody who could replace him. When you kill off somebody like Iron Man, technically speaking, there is somebody who could come in and take over the suit, because now he doesn't have that chest thing anymore that powers the suit. The suits power themselves. So theoretically, somebody else could take over the mantle of Iron Man. Then you have, Thor. I mean, they've already recast Thor, but the power of Thor comes from whoever can wield the hammer. And if the hammer finds somebody else worthy, then that person will become Thor, even though they have to be from Asgard, but still, or mostly from Asgard. But anyway, this is all the main information. This was such a huge announcement. I don't think people were expecting this. I tweeted out just before the episode, or just before the Marvel event, that I'm expecting we're going to get a Doctor Strange official release date and casting announcement. I was wrong about the casting announcement, but I was right about the release date. The Captain America title, but I didn't think we were going to get Spidey. And so out of all the things, the only thing that I was wrong on was that we were going to get the casting announcement for Doctor Strange. But they've pushed Doctor Strange back about 4 or 5 months from its original suggested release date, if you will, because Marvel never officially announced that it was going to be the July 8th release date. So now we're getting, again, I'll just go over this quickly and then I'll wrap up. So we're getting Captain America Civil War on May 6th, 2016. Doctor Strange opens up on November 4th, 2016. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 will be followed up on May 5th, 2017. Thor Ragnarok opens up on July 28th, 2017. Black Panther opens up November 3rd, 2017. Avengers Infinity War Part 1 opens up May 4th, 2018. Captain Marvel opens up July 6th, 2018. Inhumans opens November 20th, 2018. And finally, Avengers Infinity War Part 2 will open up May 3rd, 2019. Wow. I mean, holy God. This has been one of the busiest months of movie news that I myself have ever experienced. And I'm not even just talking about the time that I've been doing the show. I'm talking about the entire time that I've been reading up on movie news. I don't think there's ever been as big of an announcement or several announcements consecutively outside of a Comic-Con convention. And as somebody tweeted out earlier as well, this is more information than Marvel has ever released at any of their Comic-Cons combined. Because you look at all their Comic-Cons, the first one that they really did any announcements, they announced Iron Man and Ant-Man. And we all know that Ant-Man's still on its way. But the next major announcement that we got was that the next films were going... Because I think they showed Iron Man 2 footage. And then they said that the next films were going to be Thor... they announced Thor, Captain America, and then the Avengers. And then the next major announcement that came out was we're going to do, there was Iron Man 3, and then there was going to be Captain America Winter Soldier, and then there was going to be, Thor the Dark World, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. And then the next announcement was Avengers Age of Ultron. So, I mean, adding all those ones up, now this announcement is Cap 3, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Thor 3, Black Panther, Avengers 3 Part 1, Captain Marvel, Inhumans, Avengers 3 Part 2. So that 9-film announcement in one afternoon. I mean, good God, this was a great announcement. Speculation is going to run rampant. I definitely recommend you guys putting a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about this announcement. I'm jazzed as hell about this. This is, to me, almost it's too much. I think Marvel could have held back on this a little bit. I really was hoping that they would just, hold back on a couple of them. But the least surprising of them to me was Thor Ragnarok, because that one's been speculated to high noon. Out of all the other ones, though, this just blew my mind that they were officially, this is official. This is from Marvel. This is happening. This is not speculation anymore. This is not conjecture. This is not somebody just, talking around a water cooler saying this would be cool if they did this. This is official. I cannot wait for all of these movies. I mean, just look at this graphic. Just look at those. I mean, we're in the golden age of superhero movies. There's no other way to put it. This is the golden age. This is very exciting. And this is becoming very big sweaty nerd territory, as John Schnepp loves to say. Hashtag sweaty nerds, everybody. So yeah, definitely put a comment in the comment section below. Hopefully I'm going to have an episode up tomorrow. I've got a lot of things happening outside of regular work and outside of this that I really do need to take care of. So I may not have time tomorrow to have an episode up, but I'll definitely try my best to get one out tomorrow. If not, I will have my regular episode on Friday. So definitely check back for that. But holy God, is this a major announcement. I cannot believe that they did this. This is just incredible. But anyway, if we get more information about any of these topics, which we definitely will, especially in the next couple of days, more information will hopefully come out about these and we'll have a lot to talk about. But when we do get more information about these topics, I will definitely update you guys on here. Well, that'll do it for us here on Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been a great audience. Go ahead and click the subscribe button there in the bottom corner. You can get updates whenever we post a new video. You can also find me on Twitter at Niklsun, Niklsun, for all of your movie updates. And you can also give us a like on our Facebook page at facebook.com/movie news with Niklsun. If you guys ever have anything to discuss on the show, whether it be a new movie coming out or even the big lineup that came out today, you can put a comment in the comment section, or you can email us at movienewswithniklsun, Niklsun, @gmail.com, and we'll answer as many as we can on every Friday episode. So definitely put a comment in the comment section. And until next time, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.